Hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Delta V Rings of Saturn. Come on mate, you can figure it out. So, yeah, I had to think about it. I'm pretty sure that if we were to reconnect to this bloke, can I grab him and put him on? No, don't eat him. Don't throw him, Jesus. It's you, isn't it? Get back to the cradle. No, that's the wrong cradle. This is the cradle here. Oh, look at him trying to align with it. Ah! Alright, here we go. And if I press 3 again? There we go, we're reconnected. Right, so my intuition was right actually about the processed cargo. So that's what he's carrying. And will potentially carry up to 15,000 of each thing. So this is my internal storage. And it seems that we fill our own internal ship storage before we fill the overflow. Which is interesting, I kind of intuited the other way around, back to front. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna bring him home with me. Enchilada Prime. With a view to... with a view to increase the power of my thrusters, right? Because my weight is becoming a significant problem. Bloody story of my life. What sort of profit does this look like? How is that 46,000? That's nothing. $500. So these are the 500 blocks that I had internal. 1,000. 400. Yeah, I guess it's iron. 500 kilos, even if it is smelted down. Whereas these big blocks... Yeah, okay, I see. I'm just having a hard time getting the dimensions around. So this big old block that was sitting in our hull, actually, even though it hasn't been smelted down, it has 2,500 kilos of unrefined iron, right? Whereas this has 500 kilos. So that's 1/5, which makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. But then you have a look at like, where was it? Yeah, like this. That's a big block of iron. So that was on our side storage, this thing. And that's $5,000. Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm getting the hang of it. It's just, okay. So as long as the smelter's running, it's gonna keep essentially destroying 60% of my load inside the main cargo. I just need to get used to that rhythm. That's fine. It's kind of cool. I've kind of painted myself into a little bit of a corner here with that processor. I guess I can turn it off. I could turn it off. fill my tummy up and then turn it back on. That way, because unless I'm going to stay out there and fill up, well, do we want to fill up the entire side cargo thing as well? Bit of a blessing and a curse, you know? How long do we stay out there for? Yeah. I mean, I guess I've got almost infinite propellant. I could just go out for like a bloody 3-hour dive, right? And just constantly keep filling this friggin' thing up. And I could... Wait, if I disconnect it, it tries to go home, doesn't it? I was going to say, because I could disconnect it from the cradle. And then once I fill my internals up to 500 kilos of each, I could put it into that. No, I don't know if that's the go. Having it offset like that is going to be actually, the more I put in it with one of them, the more of a nightmare that's going to become. All right, thrusters. What are we looking at here? So I've got this, RK3 thrusters. Allows your ship to perform fine maneuvers. Now what's this? What's the difference with these? Nothing other than potentially performance, right? Thrust, 500. 600. 200. So it's got bugger all thrust. Why are you higher value then? Manufacturer. Mass per thruster. Variable thrust. Pulsed thrust. Oh, that's interesting. Variable sounds appealing. It has a lower thermal consumption. Propellant consumption. Right, okay, so it's way easier on the propellant, this, which does not faze me even remotely, right? This gives us a lot more thrust, double the thrust to be honest, but like at, what is that, 5 times the consumption of propellant, which doesn't faze me right now, honestly. So I'm actually going to step back onto these. Variable thrust thermal thrusters, cheap, reliable, powerful propulsion, designed for civilian transports. Based on the widely popular India STR, which is the lower here, it's both powerful and resilient at the cost of relatively high propellant consumption. That's fine. That offset works for me. And then what's this here? 150 thrust. Again, super efficient, but not what I want. 400 kilonewtons. Exhaust velocity. How are these the most powerful thrusters? It's wild. All right, well, we're starting to behave at the very edge of spec. Do you know what I mean? So we'll put these super inefficient but highly powerful thrusters on, and we will see how we go with our weight, bearing in mind we've actually over doubled the thrust output, and this is a variable thruster as well. So all of these are just more efficient. They use different propellants potentially. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm enjoying sort of my dynamite fishing but swinging around a lot. Repairs. Let's start on the 70 threshold. I think we're sitting okay. Let's go straight back out. But where do my things go? want to stay with them. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, I wonder if you get totally different thruster suites with different types of ship. Because this is relatively small in the scheme of things, this ship. So what happens when I want a really large one? I think we're getting to the point where I'm trying to operate at scale, where, like, if you think about it, if you're if you take an enormous ship, like 100 times the size of this, do you really want it? Like, is the sensible solution to continue to have high maneuverability? It's not. Not in any sort of industry, right? Strip mining, anything, right? That is where the drones will come into it, which makes sense. It's going to change the way that we behave. We can get around that. Oh wow, we are flying now. Oh my god, hang on. Leave it alone. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh. Yeah, so we're getting to a point where, like, if you're this giant fat boombar of a ship, you want to outsource the movement probably to drones, right? Look at that maneuvering, though. I suppose we've got an empty cargo hold, so... Oh, she's snapping around now. Yeah, so we really need to... I think this is going to turn into a monster dive. And when we come back, we need to think about drones, I think. Even though I want a more efficient refinery. Jesus, look at that. We're flying through propellant. Alright, what are you offering? Iron. Nothing on board right now, but I'll sell it to you. I'll stay out here as long as I can. Please don't grab me. Yeah, thank you, but no. Oh, I really wouldn't have minded that. Yeah. Alright. We're settling in for a long one here, boys. Oh, don't let go. Even stuff like that, I would probably prefer to stay as stagnant as possible. That's what I'm going to aim for, at least. after I scoop this one. Probably want to stay near that station, if only for the sake of harvesting. Iron. Woo! PD. Hang on, that's the thing that we were having a hard time finding, wasn't it? We're only going to get 40% of that. Alright, let's stay on toward the station. You know, I don't really want to shoot it. Got to keep an eye on the propellant as well. You see? All these aggressive maneuvers I might need to calm down on a bit. This is, as far as game balance goes, like, and we're coming off the back of Star Trek Resurgence, for example, you know? Like, narrative heavy, and this is narrative non-existent. Don't get me wrong, I know there's some little story bits and that in there, but I think people will understand, you know, apart from the psycho simps. But yeah, this is almost zero story. It's just distilled gameplay, and at the very core, a very simple concept. Like, it's like, you know the amount of games where they have 10 million different mini games trying to cover all these different bases? This game is like, no, it's just mining. And as far as the sort of power creep, it's not even power creep, just the escalation, the career elevation. As we stated, we're starting to potentially get into more heavy duty mining, at least, you know, as a discipline. I call it dynamite fishing, but you guys know what I'm getting at when I say that. Sort of as a kind of discipline. Oh shit, hang on. We recognize you. Stand down. Truce. Flag him as friendly. Thank goodness for that. I don't really want trouble right now. You know, like, it is quite hard sci-fi, isn't it? But I think I've done all right to figure a lot of this stuff out on my own. I kind of find game guides are the bane of great gameplay and discovery. It kills me. I have to wonder, I think there's probably a philosophical discussion to be had around how, don't take this personally, fellow gamers. God, this music's really going for it, isn't it? Splintered Touch. What are you up to? Hey, Caleb. I think people have a hard time. God, it's a deep issue, but some people struggle with meaning in modernity, right? Whether it's a meaningless job or living at home, being bored out of their minds, having nothing to do, and they start to conflate work and work product and work achievement with video gaming. And so, example, right? Where am I getting all this from? If you're working or, uni students, I consider that sort of work as well. You're trying to pass a test. You kind of, it's in a way, it's a KPI sort of situation. Then having things like Google and guides and the ability to do that to overcome your work product. Like it's not a game. It's not about a pleasure feedback. Winning and losing doesn't really matter. That's what fun's supposed to be about. Fun is the experience, right? But things like get this right or you lose your job, that's not a game, and that's not really what you would call fun. And so having a guide, as it were, the ability to Google or look up solutions or figure out how to do your job or solve math equations, absolutely. I think having that sort of guide equivalent is important, right? Being able to do your job. But again, maybe you can see where I'm getting at. I feel like there are these closing vectors where people are turning their game into an obsession, and they conflate it with a work product that they want in their life, that kind of need. Personally, I speak as a workaholic. I love working, and the more holiday and more idle time I have, the more I go insane. I don't like having to sit there thinking about doing nothing. But I think that's where you get into dangerous territory, where people start min-maxing the fun out of games, and I think it's less a condemnation of gaming. I think it's probably a bigger issue of people not being satisfied with their work. And, there might be a feedback loop there, as games and all that become more wonderful and interesting, people become a bit disassociated with real world. And, they pursue escapism probably a little bit too aggressively. Anyway, so what are you talking about, Scarlett? What I'm talking about is, I don't like when games lean into it, and you need a game guide to understand how to play a game. I feel like there is a difference between having a complicated game that is obtuse without a wiki, and then having a complicated game. This is a good example. I haven't used a wiki. I haven't Googled shit. And this game's actually quite intense as far as the numbers and the hard science, but I find it quite understandable, passable, right? Pass with an R, right? I can take the data and work it out without it ever feeling like a chore, without it ever turning into work to pull it around in a circle. That was sort of my point. So these games that, the only way to understand them and play them is to read 10,000 wikis and become this subject matter expert. I feel personally that they're appealing to people that need work in their life. Which might cut to the bone. I could be wrong, right? But that might cut a bit close for some people if I am right. But at the same time, if you're in a point in, life is up and down, right? You might be in a point in your life where you just have to do the 9 to 5 at the bloody Quickie Mart, and you just have to eat shit and do a menial job that gives you absolute zero satisfaction. Well, maybe for that year of your life, having a job game is a stand-in. But not to turn this into a bloody self-help channel, but I do wonder if people, instead of, I would argue that that's a healthy way to do it. Hey, life, it's not necessarily life's in a slump, but I'm in a, I just have to work the 9 to 5 for the moment before the next year, as a sort of holdover, a stopover. I wonder if people, instead of seeing it that way, they then resign themselves to 40 years of a horrible job and never pushing themselves in real life, and instead take that effort that they should probably be putting into their career focus and they put it into a video game. Do you see what I mean? Like you're coming down the tunnel from the wrong direction potentially. But what would I know? I'm an idiot that literally plays video games for a living. So you should absolutely listen to nothing that I have to say on this topic. But I would also probably say that I come with a healthy dose of self-awareness. I know who I am, I know what I'm doing, I know why I exist, I am there for you to put in your second monitor while you eat shit at the job that you hate and watch. So I'm there for you, brothers and sisters. Anyway, I got ranting there, as I am wont to do. But it's something I do think about. That I joke about being the most hardcore casual gamer on the planet. Alright, I joke about this often because I play everything and anything, and I still get comments every day about how I'm a fucking trasher and I'm garbage at all the games. And in a way, I kind of wear that like a badge. Because I don't want to be a guy that plays one game till he min-maxes the fun out of it and turns it into a job, turns it into a career of playing one game, because I feel like that's a failing. So I'm glad that I feel centered. I'm glad that I can still play these games, and within the week or 2 weeks that I play it, I can learn it and figure out how to play it, and I've enjoyed really investing myself in this. But I gotta wonder, and it's not necessarily an attention span thing, but I feel like if you stay with a game for too long, like most things, you're probably building unhealthy habits. Right? Is any of this making any sense? People don't have to agree with me. Anyway, if you find yourself in that category where you just play one game and you overinvest it, and because you hate your job but you crave having a job that is of value, maybe you overdo it. Even in this game might be an example, right? My heart goes out to that person, because we've all been there. We've all been there. Meanwhile, I filled out my cargo hold pretty well. Now, see how it says processed cargo, vanadium, 10,000 kilos. It's got a 15,000 limit per type. So that's potentially, as much as I turned my nose up at the mono storage or whatever it is, there might be some sense to that. Because at this rate, given the patch that we're harvesting in, what's going to stop me is I'm going to get too much vanadium. I'm not going to be able to process anymore. And then I'm going to fill my entire hold up with unrefined vanadium. That's what's going to throttle us. Seems that we've managed to stay on top of the the propellant problem as well. Looks like I've got a grasp of that. Sort of giving me flashbacks to the old hard space days, right? I'd sit there and strip a ship and bloody talk about big topics that I have absolutely no bloody authority to talk on. You know, the good old days. So this is interesting now, like, funnily enough, our total ship mass is obnoxious, but I'm not having any noticeable issues maneuvering. But now and we also have a little bit of an exit with the station nearby. We know that that station will take iron. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, like, yesterday's problem was making sure that we could refine and that, or no, making sure that we had the correct thrust. Today's problem is targeted harvesting. To the point where maybe we do this and we go geologist and we turn... No, we don't turn that off on the cargo container. Oh look, it's starting to empty it. Where's it emptying it to? Is it emptying it into my hold? How? Huh. But now we've got a point where hopefully our radar contacts and my arm will ignore the vanadium. I can't remember how to say it. Alright, anyway. Here you go, Scarlet Teddy's rant. Team, let me know what you reckon. Might just leave it there for the time being and I'll catch you guys on the next one.